this year at Fairfield Hall in Croydon by the Dubliners.
Here we go. As I was going over the Fairfield Kerry Mountains, I met with Captain Farrell and his money he was counting. I first produced me pistol and I then produced me rapier, saying stand and deliver, for you are a bold deceiver, mushering da-ba-doo-da-ba-da. Whack all the daddy-o, whack all the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. I went unto my chamber all for take a slumber, dreamt of gold and jewels, and for sure it was no wonder. But Jenny drew me charges and she filled them up with water, sent for Captain Farrell to be ready for the slaughter. Mushering da-ba-doo-da-ba-da. Whack ball da daddy-o, whack ball da daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. 'Twas early in the morning, just before I rose to travel. Up comes a band of footmen and likewise Captain Farrell. I first produced me pistol, for she'd stolen away my rapier. I couldn't shoot the water, so a prisoner I was taken. Mushering da-ba-doo-da-ba-da. Whack ball da daddy-o, whack ball da daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Now the some take the light in the carriages rolling, others take the light in the hurley and the bowling. But I take the light in the juice of the barley, and courting pretty fair maids in the morning, bright and early. Mushering da-ba-doo-da-ba-da. Whack ball the daddy-o, whack ball the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. And if anyone can aid me, 'tis my brother in the army. If I can find a station in Belfast or in Killarney, and if he'll go with me, we'll go roaming in Kilkenny, and I'm sure he'd treat me better than my own best sporting Jenny. Mushering da-ba-doo-da-ba-da. Whack ball the daddy-o, whack ball the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. And mushering da-ba-doo-da-ba-da. Whack ball the daddy-o, whack ball the daddy-o, there's whiskey in the jar. Being on BBC, we don't know whether it's dedicated to Jimmy Young or the other fellow, what's his name? Banjax, Terry Hogan or something, is it? Something like that. But in case we go out on Terry Wogan show, we'll sing a song for him. It's a marvellous song, written by a friend of ours called Pete St. John. That's a very unusual Dublin name. It's almost as unusual as Terry Wogan. By the way, you notice that we're speaking very precisely because we're on BBC. The song is called, it is a great song. It's a song called The Rare Old Times. Famed in song and story, heroes of renown, of passing tales and glory, that once was Dublin town. The hallowed halls and houses, the haunting children's rhymes, that once was part of Dublin in the rare old times. Eat your heart out, Terry. Ring a rosy, as the light declines, I'll remember Dublin city in the rare old times. Now my name it is Sean Dempsey, as Dublin as can be, born hard and reared in Pimlico, in a house that ceased to be. By trade I was a cooper, lost out to redundancy. Like my home, it fell to progress, and it's now a memory. Come on, sing the chorus. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I'll remember Dublin City in the rare old times. I courted Peggy Dignam, as pretty as you please, a rogue and the child of Mary, from the rebel liberties. I lost her to a student chap with skin as black as coal. When he took her off to Birmingham, she took away my soul. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I'll remember Dublin City in the rare time. Fare thee well, sweet Anna Liffey, I can no longer stay and watch the new glass cages spring up along the quay. My mind's too full of memories, too old to hear new chimes. I'm part of what was Dublin in the rare old times. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I'll remember Dublin City in the rare old times. Ring-a-ring-a-rosy, as the light declines, I'll remember Dublin City in the rare old times.
Songwriter. He wrote a song called Congratulations, which won the Eurovision Song Contest, which he never asked us to sing. And he also wrote a song called Puppet on a String, which also won the Eurovision Song Contest, and which he also didn't ask us to sing. But he wrote the next one, and he did ask us to sing it. It's a song about a disaster that happened off the northwest coast of Ireland, off the coast of Donegal. And it's about a fisherman who was the only one to be saved when the boat he was in was destroyed in a storm. And when he came to shore, he never went back to sea again. And he became very melancholy. And he used to ramble around the roads of Donegal, and when he'd have a few pints, he'd just tell the story over and over again of the night of the disaster. He was called Donegal Danny. I remember the night that he came in from the wintry cold and the damp. A giant of a man in an oilskin coat and a bundle that told he was a tramp. He stood at the bar and he called a pint, then turned and gazed at the fire. On a night like this, to be safe and dry is my one and only desire. So here's to those that are dead and gone, the friends that I love dear. And here's to you, and I'll bid you adieu, saying Donegal Danny's been here, me boys, Donegal Danny's been here. Then in a voice that was hushed and low, he said, listen and I'll tell you a tale. How a man of the sea became a man of the roads, and never more will set sail. I fished at a Howth and Killybegs, Ardglass and Baltimore, but the cruel sea has beaten me, and I'll end my days on the shore. So here's to those that are dead and gone, the friends that I loved dear. And here's to you, and I'll bid you adieu. Sing Donegal, Danny's been here, me boys. Donegal, Danny's been here. I remember the night in the wind and the rain. We set sail from Killybegs town. There were 5 of us from Donegal and 1 from County Down. We were fishermen who worked the sea and never counted the cost. And I never thought ere that night was done that my fine friends would all be lost. So here's to those that are dead and gone, the friends that I love dear. And here's to you, and I'll bid you adieu. Sing Donegal, Danny's been here, me boys. Donegal, Danny's been here. Well, the storm it broke, and it drove the boat to the rocks about 10 miles from shore. As we fought the tide, we all hoped inside to see our homes once more. Then we struck a rock and holed the bow, and all of us knew that she'd go down. So we jumped right into the icy sea and prayed to God we wouldn't drown. And the raging sea was rising still as we struck out for the land. And she tried with all her cruelty to tame that gallant band. By St. John's Point in the early dawn, as I dragged myself to the shore, I cursed the sea for what she'd done and vowed to sail her nevermore. So here's to those that are dead and gone, the friends that I love dear. And here's to you, and I'll bid you adieu. Sing Donegal, Danny's been here, me boys. Donegal, Danny's been here. Ever since that night I've been on the road, travelling and trying to forget. An awful night, I lost all my friends, I see their faces yet. And often at night, when the sea is high and the wind is tearing at my skin, I hear the cries of drowning men floating over on the wind. So here's to those that are dead and gone, the friends that I love dear. And here's to you, and I'll bid you adieu. Say Donegal, Danny's been here, me boys. Donegal, Danny's been here. Ireland was known as the land of saints and scholars. A long time ago, mind you. Time before the politicians and the robbers moved in. But there was a certain, this particular saint. He was a hermit and a very, very holy man. And he used to go around in monk's clothes. He was a monk. And, nearly saying something else there. He was a monk. And he lived all on his own down in Glendalough in County Wicklow in Ireland. It's a very lonely place. But there was a certain young lady around the place by the name of Kathleen, or Kitty for short. And she used to come along and show herself to the monk in a way that young ladies shouldn't be showing themselves to monks. And things were happening to your man in his habit that shouldn't be happening to monks in their habit, you know. So he said he'd had to get rid of it. I mean, the temptation, not the thing that was in his habit. But anyway, I'm getting all confused now. He used to do terrible things. He used to roll in the nettles and all, trying to get rid of it. But eventually, he decided that he'd get rid of her instead. His name was St. Kevin. In the land of Luck lived an old saint, renowned for his learning and piety. His manners was curious and quaint, and he looked upon girls with disparity. Fa-la-la-la-la-la-day, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la-dee, fa-la-la-la-la-la-day, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la-dee. He was fond of reading a book when he could get on to his wishes. He was fond of casting his hook out in among the young fishes. Fa-la-la-la-la-la-day, fa-la-la-la-la-la-dee, fa-la-la-la-la-la-day, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la-dee. Well, one evening he landed a trout. He landed a fine big trout, sir. When Kathleen from over the way came to see what the old monk was about, sir. Fa-la-la-la-la-la-day, fa-la-la-la-la-la-dee, fa-la-la-la-la-la-day, fa-la-la-la-la-la-la-dee. Well, get out of me way, said the saint, for I am a man of great piety, and me good manners I wouldn't taint, not be mixing with female society. Ha-la-la-la-la-la-day, ha-la-la-la-la-la-dee, ha-la-la-la-la-la-day, ha-la-la-la-la-la-la-dee. Ah, but Kitty, she wouldn't give in, and when he got home to his rockery, he found she was seated therein, a polishing up his old crockery. Ha-la-la-la-la-la-day, ha-la-la-la-la-la-dee, ha-la-la-la-la-la-day, ha-la-la-la-la-la-la-dee. Well, he gave the poor creature a shake, and I wish that a copper had cut him, for he threw her right into the lake, and beat the holy she sank to the bottom. Ha-la-la-la-la-la-day, ha-la-la-la-la-la-dee, ha-la-la-la-la-la-day, ha-la-la-la-la-la-la-dee. Thank you.
We're going to play a tune on the tin whistle and this little mandolin here. The first tune is from a very famous man who collected a lot of music in America around the turn of the century, a man called Chief O'Neill. He happened at the time to be the chief of police of Chicago. And at that time, I suppose, the mafia were very strong, but they also liked music. And Chief O'Neill had his own Irish mafia, known as the Murphia. But anyway, they got on quite well together, and the man collected a lot of music. In fact, O'Neill's Book of Irish Music was collected from the immigrants, the Irish immigrants in the States. And this is one of his favourite tunes. It's called Chief O'Neill's Hornpipe and the Harvest Home. And then a reel called The Wise Maid.
The Dubliners at